The Forbidden Planet. Captain Zixera stood motionless on the bridge of the Galactic Federation scout ship Novastorm, her four eyes fixed on the swirling blue-green orb dominating the main view screen. The ship hung in the inky void of space, cloaking systems engaged, as the crew stared in a mixture of awe and trepidation at the forbidden world before them. "It can't be," whispered First Officer Krell, his tentacles twitching nervously. "The coordinates match perfectly. This is the planet from the ancient star charts." Zixera's exoskeleton creaked as she turned to face her diverse crew. Each member represented a different species from across the Federation, handpicked for this covert mission. "We all knew the risks when we diverted from our assigned route," she said, her voice a low rumble. "The question now is, do we proceed?" The bridge erupted into a cacophony of alien voices and sounds. "We should report this immediately," squeaked Taz, the diminutive navigation officer. His fur stood on end, whiskers quivering. "The penalties for investigating a forbidden world are severe." Gorn, the hulking security chief, slammed a massive fist onto his console. "And throw away the discovery of a lifetime. This planet has been lost for millennia. We have a duty to explore." Dr. Elia, the ship's xenobiologist, raised a slender appendage. Her bioluminescent skin pulsed with excitement. "The potential scientific value is immeasurable. Just look at the readings we're getting. The biodiversity alone is off the charts." Zixera raised a clawed hand, silencing the debate. "I understand the risks, but I also recognize the opportunity before us. Krill, what do the long-range scans tell us?" The first officer manipulated his console with practiced ease. "The planet's atmosphere is primarily nitrogen and oxygen. Surface temperatures range from extreme cold at the poles to sweltering heat near the equator. There are vast oceans, sprawling continents, and, wait," he paused, multifaceted eyes widening. "Captain, I'm detecting bizarre energy signatures, unlike anything in our databases." A hushed murmur rippled through the bridge. Zixera leaned forward, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "Can you pinpoint the source?" Krull shook his head. "Negative. The signatures are sporadic, appearing and disappearing across the planet's surface. It's as if the entire world is alive with some kind of unknown energy." "Fascinating," Dr. Elia breathed. "Could it be evidence of a highly advanced civilization? Or a natural phenomenon we've never encountered?" added Taz, his earlier fear giving way to scientific curiosity. Gorn growled low in his throat. "Or a weapon. We must be cautious, Captain. This planet was forbidden for a reason." Zixera contemplated her options. The Almond, the vast artificial intelligence that governed much of the Galactic Federation, had strictly forbidden exploration of this sector of space. The penalty for disobedience was severe, mind-wiping at best, complete atomic dissolution at worst. But the Novastorm and its crew had already come too far to turn back now. "We didn't come all this way just to stare at it from orbit," Zixera declared. "Krell, begin preparations for a covert landing operation. Dr. Elia, I want a full analysis of the planet's biosphere. Gorn, devise security protocols for potential hostile encounters. Taz, plot an approach vector that will keep us hidden from any potential observation technology on the surface." As her crew sprang into action, Zixera felt a mixture of excitement and dread coil in her thorax. They were about to set foot on a world that had passed into legend, a planet so dangerous, so unpredictable, that the ancestors of the Galactic Federation had deemed it necessary to erase its very existence from official records. Hours passed in a flurry of activity. The Novastorm maintained its position just beyond the planet's lone satellite, a barren, cratered moon that Taz used to mask their energy signature. Dr. Elia's preliminary scans revealed a bewildering array of life forms, from microscopic organisms to massive creatures that dwarfed anything known in the Federation. "The sheer variety is staggering," she reported, her skin flickering with patterns of amazement. "There appear to be millions of distinct species, each adapted to specific environments. The planet's surface is a patchwork of ecosystems, from vast underwater realms to arid deserts, lush forests to frozen tundras. Gorn studied the tactical readouts with growing concern. The larger life forms show predatory characteristics: teeth, claws, venom. This place is a death trap waiting to happen. All the more reason to be cautious, Zixera said. What's the status of our landing craft, Krell? The first officer looked up from his station. The stealth shuttle is prepped and ready, Captain. I've loaded it with emergency supplies and our most advanced research equipment. However, he hesitated. Speak freely, Krell. I've been analyzing the planet's orbital data. It appears to be in a state of constant flux. The axial tilt creates severe seasonal changes, and the interactions between the planet and its satellite cause extreme tidal forces. In short, Captain, this world is far more dynamic and potentially dangerous than anything we've encountered before. Zixera absorbed this information, her compound eyes reflecting the swirling storms visible on the planet's surface. Your concerns are noted, Krell, but we've come too far to turn back now. The potential rewards far outweigh the risks. She turned to address the entire bridge crew. I won't order any of you to join me on the surface. This mission has already gone far beyond our original parameters, and each of you has the right to abstain from further involvement. Those who wish to remain aboard the Nova Storm will be tasked with monitoring our progress and providing support from orbit. For those brave enough to set foot on this forbidden world, prepare for the adventure of a lifetime. A moment of silence fell over the bridge. Then, one by one, each crew member stepped forward. I've always wanted to make first contact with a truly alien species, Dr. Elia said, her skin pulsing with determination. Gorn cracked his knuckles. Someone needs to keep you scientists out of trouble. I'm in. The navigation challenges alone make this worthwhile, Taz squeaked, whiskers twitching with excitement. Krell was the last to speak. Captain, I've served with you for over a dozen cycles. I'm not about to let you face this unknown alone. Zixera felt a surge of pride in her crew. Very well. Let's make history. As final preparations were made, alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. Taz's paws flew across his console. Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy surge from the planet's surface. The main view screen crackled with static before resolving into a vista of swirling clouds. As the crew watched in stunned silence, a brilliant fork of lightning split the sky, followed by the ominous rumble of thunder. By the almond, Krell whispered, what kind of world are we dealing with? Zixera's mandibles clicked in grim determination, one that will test us to our very limits. Prepare for descent. We're about to uncover the secrets of the forbidden planet, no matter the cost. The Nova Storm's stealth shuttle detached from the main ship, its adaptive camouflage shimmering as it began its perilous journey towards the turbulent atmosphere of the mysterious blue world below. As they pierced the upper layers of swirling gases, none of the alien crew could have imagined the true nature of the planet they were about to explore, or the shocking revelations that awaited them on the surface of Earth. Descent into chaos. The stealth shuttle Whisper plunged through Earth's turbulent atmosphere, its adaptive camouflage struggling to keep pace with the rapidly changing conditions. Inside the cramped cabin, Captain Zixera and her crew braced themselves against the violent shaking. Status report. Zixera shouted over the din of straining metal and howling wind. Taz's paws danced across the navigation console. We're experiencing unexpectedly strong air currents, Captain. The planet's weather patterns are far more volatile than our initial scans indicated. Dr. Elia, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with a mix of excitement and fear, called out from her station. I'm detecting a massive concentration of avian life forms directly in our path. Before anyone could react, a dark cloud materialized before them. Zixera's compound eyes widened in shock as she realized it wasn't a cloud at all, but an enormous flock of winged creatures. Evasive maneuvers, she ordered, but it was too late. The whisper plowed into the flock of eagles migrating across the Amazon basin. Feathers, blood, and bits of alien technology exploded across the view screen. Alarms blared as the shuttle systems began to fail. "We've lost primary propulsion," Krell reported, his tentacles working furiously to reroute power. Switching to emergency thrusters, Gorn growled from the weapons station. Those weren't just animals. They were missiles with beaks and claws. "This planet is insane." The whisper spiraled downward, smoke trailing from its ruptured hull. Through gaps in the clouds, the crew caught glimpses of an endless green canopy rushing up to meet them. "Brace for impact," Zix-Era bellowed. The shuttle crashed through the uppermost layers of the rainforest, massive branches snapping like twigs against its reinforced frame. It pinballed between towering trees before finally slamming into the forest floor, skidding to a halt in a clearing carved by its violent descent. For a long moment, silence reigned. Then, the emergency hatch blew open with a hiss of escaping gases. Zix-Era dragged herself out, her exoskeleton cracked but intact. She surveyed the wreckage with a mixture of relief and dismay. Sound off. Is everyone alive? One by one, her crew emerged from the shuttle. Taz stumbled out, his fur singed and matted. Dr. Elia oozed through a gap in the hull, her amorphous body reforming as she touched the ground. Gorn kicked his way free of debris, looking no worse for wear despite the crash. But one voice was missing. "Krell." Zix-Era called out, panic edging into her voice. "Krell, respond." A weak tapping came from within the shuttle. They found the first officer pinned beneath a fallen bulkhead, blue ichor seeping from multiple wounds. "The ship," Krell gasped. "Can't move." "Emergency beacon." Gorn assessed the situation quickly. "The bulkhead's too heavy. If we move it without proper equipment, we could crush him completely." Dr. Elia extended a pseudopod, analyzing Krell's injuries. "He's stable for now, but I need access to our medical supplies to treat him properly." Zix-Era made a swift decision. "Gorn, stay with Krell. See if you can establish communication with the Novastorm. Dr. Elia, gather what medical equipment you can salvage. Taz, you're with me. We need to scout the immediate area and find a defensible position." As the crew split up, Zix-Era and Taz ventured into the dense undergrowth. The cacophony of alien life surrounded them, chittering, howling, buzzing, and 1,000 other sounds they couldn't begin to identify. "Captain," Taz whispered, his whiskers twitching nervously. "I'm picking up trace energy signatures similar to the ones we detected from orbit. They're faint, but they're definitely artificial in origin." Zix-Era's antennae quivered with interest. "Can you localize the source?" Before Taz could respond, the ground beneath their feet began to shift. Zix-Era leaped back, pulling Taz with her, as the forest floor dissolved into a sinkhole of mud and rotting vegetation. "Quicksand," Taz squeaked in panic. "It's not even sand. This planet doesn't play by any rules." They retreated to firmer ground, but the danger was far from over. A vine snaked around Zix-Era's leg, thorns piercing her exoskeleton. She severed it with a swipe of her clawed hand, only to watch in horror as the plant began to digest the severed piece. "By the almond," she breathed. "The plants here are carnivorous too." A high-pitched scream echoed through the forest. Zix-Era and Taz rushed back to the crash site to find Dr. Elia frantically trying to scrape a swarm of tiny, brightly colored amphibians from her gelatinous body. "Poison," she cried. "Their skin secretes some kind of powerful neurotoxin. I can feel it affecting my cellular structure." Gorn emerged from the wreckage, his massive form providing some shelter for the stricken xenobiologist. "It gets worse," he rumbled. "Long-range communications are down. We're cut off from the Novastorm." As if in response to their mounting troubles, a low, menacing hiss emanated from the underbrush. The crew froze as an enormous serpent slithered into view, its scales shimmering with iridescent patterns that dazzled and disoriented. "Anaconda," Taz whispered, accessing the xenobiology database they'd compiled during their approach. One of the largest predatory species on this continent constricts its prey before swallowing it whole. The anaconda reared up, easily matching Gorn in height, its forked tongue flicked out, tasting the air, assessing these strange new morsels that had fallen into its territory. Zixera's mind raced. Their weapons, designed for self-defense against sentient threats, seemed woefully inadequate against the raw, primal power of Earth's megafauna. She needed a plan. Fast. "Gorn," she said quietly, "on my signal, I want you to charge directly at that thing. Dr. Elia, can you generate a bioluminescent burst?" The scientist nodded weakly, still fighting off the effects of the poison frogs. "Good. Taz, be ready to dart around behind the creature when it's distracted. We're going to show this overgrown worm that we're not easy prey." As Zixera outlined her desperate plan, a new sound cut through the chaos of the jungle. The rhythmic chopping of rotor blades grew steadily louder. "Artificial propulsion," Taz exclaimed. "There must be a native civilization nearby." The crew's hopes soared, only to be dashed moments later as they realized the implications. They were about to be discovered, marooned and vulnerable on a world they were never meant to visit. Through a gap in the canopy, they caught a glimpse of a sleek, black helicopter circling their crash site. Emblazoned on its side was a logo none of them recognized, two stylized letters forming an hourglass shape. "Unknown organization," Gorn growled. "Definitely not a rescue operation." As the helicopter touched down in a nearby clearing, armed figures in dark uniforms began to emerge. Their faces were obscured by opaque visors, but their weapons were unmistakably pointed at the alien crew. Zixera stood tall, placing herself between the advancing humans and her injured comrades. In that moment, facing both the deadly wildlife of Earth and the unknown intentions of its dominant species, she realized their mission had become something far more complex and dangerous than a simple exploration. "Well, crew," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them, "it seems we've stumbled into something much bigger than we anticipated. Whatever happens next, remember, we're representatives of the Galactic Federation. Let's show these Earthlings what we're made of." As the human soldiers surrounded them, weapons raised, the alien crew braced themselves for first contact. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, poised on the edge of a revelation that would change the course of galactic history forever. Unlikely allies. The standoff in the Amazon clearing crackled with tension. Captain Zixera and her battered crew faced down a squad of heavily armed humans, their intentions as inscrutable as their visored faces. The jungle's cacophony seemed to dim, as if the wildlife itself was holding its breath. Suddenly, a blood-curdling roar shattered the silence. A massive black shape exploded from the underbrush, all rippling muscle and gleaming fangs. The jaguar, drawn by the commotion and the scent of alien blood, saw only prey. Chaos erupted. The human soldiers scattered, their disciplined formation broken by primal fear. Dr. Elia, still weakened by the poison frog encounter, was directly in the big cat's path. Without hesitation, Zixera launched herself at the jaguar. Her exoskeleton, evolved for high-gravity worlds, gave her strength that belied her insectoid frame. She collided with the predator mid-leap, sending both of them tumbling into the undergrowth. "Captain," Gorn bellowed, charging after them. But before he could reach Zixera, two of the human soldiers cut him off, not attacking, but forming a defensive line. The lead soldier's visor snapped up, revealing a face etched with determination and, surprisingly, concern. "Stand down, big guy," he said in accented galactic standard. "Let us handle this." Gorn's shock at hearing his own language from a supposedly primitive species was overshadowed by his worry for Zixera. But something in the human's tone made him hesitate. The two soldiers advanced on the thrashing forms of Zixera and the jaguar. With practiced precision, they fired strange projectile weapons. Instead of the expected devastation of plasma or laser fire, Soft impacts followed by electrical discharges echoed through the clearing. The Jaguar convulsed, then went limp. Zixera, her exoskeleton scorched and cracked but still intact, staggered to her feet. Tranquilizer darts, the lead soldier explained, helping steady the alien captain. Effective on most of our wildlife. Wasn't sure how they'd work on, well, you. Zixera's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement or annoyance. I appreciate the assistance, though your timing could have been better. I am Captain Zixera of the Galactic Federation scout ship Novastorm. I believe we have much to discuss. The soldier nodded, then turned to his squad. Secure the area. Tend to their wounded. And somebody get Dr. Paddle down here. We're going to need a xenobiologist. As the humans efficiently set up a perimeter and began assisting the alien crew, Zixera gathered her officers. Thoughts? She asked quietly. Taz's whiskers twitched nervously. They speak Galactic Standard. That's impossible unless they've had contact with the Federation before. Krell finished, wincing as a human medic tended to his injuries. Gorn growled low in his throat. Or they've been monitoring our communications. This could be an elaborate trap. Dr. Elia, her color slowly returning to normal, offered a different perspective. Their technology is a curious mix. Projectile weapons and rotating blade aircraft, yet they have energy shields I can detect around their base camp. It's as if their development has been guided, Zixera concluded. The question is, by whom? Their hushed conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a slight, dark-skinned human woman. She wore no armor, only a simple uniform with a patch bearing the same hourglass logo they'd seen on the helicopter. Greetings, she said, her eyes sparkling with barely contained excitement. I'm Dr. Amita Patel, xenobiologist and first contact specialist. On behalf of the Temporal Integrity Commission, welcome to Earth. The next few hours were a whirlwind of cautious information exchange. The human base camp, hidden beneath holographic camouflage that rivaled Galactic Federation technology, became a surreal meeting ground between species. Dr. Paddle explained that the Temporal Integrity Commission was a secret organization dedicated to managing Earth's interactions with extraterrestrial life and protecting the planet's unique temporal properties that the aliens were only beginning to understand. Your crash landing triggered our sensors, she said. We've been expecting someone to rediscover Earth for decades, but I must admit, we didn't anticipate a rogue scouting mission. Zixera's antennae twitched with interest. Rediscover. Then it's true that the Federation once knew of this world. Dr. Patel's expression grew serious. It's complicated. Earth's history with the galactic community is long and, frankly, bizarre. But before we get into that, there's something you need to see. She led the alien crew to a holographic display at the center of the camp. With a few gestures, she brought up a three-dimensional map of the surrounding jungle. Pulsing points of light dotted the landscape. These energy signatures, Taz gasped. They're what we detected from orbit. Dr. Patel nodded. What you're seeing is a network of ancient alien outposts, hidden throughout Earth's most remote regions. We've managed to activate and study a few, but many remain dormant. Their technology is, well, it's beyond even what the Galactic Federation currently possesses. The implications hit the alien crew like a plasma blast. Earth wasn't just some uncontacted world. It was a planet of deep galactic importance, a reservoir of lost knowledge and technology. As the humans and aliens poured over the data, sharing insights and theories, the earlier tension began to dissolve. Scientists and soldiers from both species found common ground in their shared curiosity and sense of discovery. Gorn and a human security officer swapped stories about facing down dangerous wildlife. Dr. Elia and Dr. Patil excitedly compared notes on Earth's bewildering biodiversity. Even the ever-cautious Krell found himself engrossed in a discussion about faster-than-light propulsion with a bright-eyed human engineer. Zixera observed it all with a mixture of pride and wonder. In just a few short hours, her crew had gone from fearing for their lives to forging the beginnings of a true alliance. As the jungle sun began to set, casting long shadows through the camp, Dr. Patel approached Zixera with a serious expression. "Captain, we've detected unusual activity at one of the nearest outposts. It may be responding to your ship's presence in orbit. If we're going to unravel the mystery of Earth's place in the galaxy, that outpost is our best bet." "But," she hesitated. "But it won't be easy to reach," Zixera finished for her. "This is your world, Dr. Patel. What dangers should we expect?" The human scientist's lips quirked in a wry smile. "Oh, the usual. Treacherous terrain, carnivorous plants, venomous creatures, ancient booby traps, and quite possibly hostile competing interests who'd rather this knowledge stay buried." Zixera's compound eyes gleamed with determination. "Sounds like a typical day in the Galactic Federation's Scout Service. When do we leave?" As humans and aliens alike prepared for the expedition, a palpable sense of excitement and camaraderie filled the air. They were no longer two separate groups, but a single team united by a common purpose. Little did they know that their journey to the alien outpost would not only reveal Earth's true history, but also catapult humanity onto the galactic stage in ways none of them could have imagined. The fate of two civilizations, and perhaps the entire galaxy, rested in the hands of these unlikely allies. The hunt. Dawn broke over the Amazon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold. The unlikely alliance of humans and aliens set out from the Temporal Integrity Commission's base camp, their goal, to reach the ancient alien outpost before their unseen competitors. Captain Zixera led the expedition alongside Dr. Amita Patel. The rest of the team was a mix of TIC operatives and the Novastorm's crew. Gorn and a human ex-Special Forces soldier named Rodriguez took point, while Taz worked with a TIC technician to track the outpost's energy signature. Dr. Elia and Krell brought up the rear, still recuperating from their injuries, but determined to see this through. As they pushed deeper into the jungle, the alien crew marveled at Dr. Patel's expertise. She identified poisonous plants with a glance, spotted nearly invisible trails, and seemed to have an almost preternatural sense for incoming danger. "Watch your step here," she warned, pointing to a patch of innocent-looking leaves. "Poisonous frogs often nest in that species. One touch of their skin secretions could put you into cardiac arrest." Taz shuddered, remembering his earlier encounter. "How do you manage to survive in such a hostile environment?" Dr. Patel smiled. "Humanity's greatest strength is our adaptability. We've learned to live in every environment Earth has to offer, from the deepest oceans to the highest mountains. This jungle, it's just another home." Their journey took them to the banks of a rushing river. The water churned violently, white rapids concealing sharp rocks, and who knew what else beneath the surface. "The outpost's energy signature is strongest on the other side," Taz reported, his whiskers twitching nervously. Rodriguez surveyed the raging waters with a frown. "No way we're swimming that. The current would tear us apart." Zixera's compound eyes scanned the riverbank, her tactical mind assessing their options. "Perhaps we could construct a rudimentary bridge or—" She was cut off by a loud crack. A massive tree near the water's edge began to topple, its trunk gnawed through by unseen creatures. As it fell, it created a natural bridge across the rapids. The team stared in amazement. Dr. Patel chuckled. "Beaver Dam. Nature's engineers at work, shall we?" They crossed carefully, the log bridge creaking ominously beneath their weight. Halfway across, Krell froze, his tentacles wrapping tightly around the trunk. "Movement in the water," he hissed. "Something big." The surface of the river erupted as a giant anaconda, even larger than the one they'd encountered earlier, launched itself at the crossing team. Gorn reacted instantly, grabbing the massive serpent mid-strike and wrestling it back into the churning waters. "Go," he roared. "I'll hold it off." The rest of the team scrambled across, turning to see Gorn and the anaconda locked in an epic struggle. Just when it seemed the alien warrior might be overwhelmed, Rodriguez leaped back onto the log. He pulled a strange device from his pack, a tangle of wires and electrodes. "Gorn," he shouted, "when I say now, let go and jump." With a mighty heave, Gorn flung the anaconda upward. Rodriguez activated his device, sending arcs of electricity dancing across the water's surface. The anaconda fell back into the electrified river with a shriek, then slipped away into the depths. As Gorn and Rodriguez rejoined the group, Zixera nodded appreciatively. "Impressive teamwork." "Indeed," Dr. Patil agreed, "but we should move quickly. That commotion will have attracted attention, and not just from the local wildlife." They pressed on, the jungle growing denser and darker around them. Strange, luminescent plants began to appear, their glow intensifying as the team drew closer to their goal. Suddenly, Taz's ears perked up. "I'm picking up radio chatter. Encrypted, but definitely artificial in origin." Dr. Patel's expression hardened. "It seems we're not alone in our hunt. Everyone, activate your personal cloaking devices. From here on out, we move silent and invisible." The air shimmered as both humans and aliens engaged their stealth technology. They crept forward, alert for any sign of their mysterious competitors. They emerged into a small clearing dominated by an enormous ancient tree. Its trunk was wider than any they'd seen before, its branches reaching impossibly high into the canopy. But it was what lay at the base of the tree that took their breath away. A structure of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields was half buried in the roots and earth. Alien glyphs covered its surface, some recognizable to the Galactic Federation crew, others completely unknown. "The outpost," Dr. Patil whispered. "We found it." But before they could approach, a squad of black-clad figures melted out of the jungle. Their uniforms bore no insignia, their faces hidden behind opaque visors. They moved with military precision, surrounding the ancient structure. Zixera felt a hand on her arm. She turned to see Dr. Patil, her expression grave. "Cronus Division," the human scientist murmured. "A rogue faction within the Temporal Integrity Commission. They believe humanity should use the alien technology to dominate the galaxy. Consequences be damned." The captain's mandibles clicked softly. "What's our play?" Dr. Patel's eyes gleamed with determination. "We need to reach the outpost's central control panel. If I can activate it, we might be able to access its databanks and understand why Earth was hidden from the galaxy. But we'll have to get past Cronus Division to do it." Zixera surveyed her mismatched team, aliens and humans, scientists and soldiers, united in purpose. "Then let's show them what two species working together can do." What followed was a masterclass in cooperation and creative problem-solving. Taz used his enhanced hearing to track Cronus Division's movements, allowing Gorn and Rodriguez to set up ambushes using a combination of alien stun technology and earthly tranquilizers. Dr. Elia shape-shifted into innocuous jungle plants, providing mobile cover for the team as they advanced. Krell's tentacles proved invaluable for disarming traps and sabotaging enemy equipment. The humans contributed their intimate knowledge of Earth's environment. They used local flora to create distractions, turned the jungle itself into a weapon against their foes. A particularly ingenious move involved agitating a nest of bullet ants, sending the highly aggressive insects swarming toward the Cronus Division troops. Throughout it all, Zixera and Dr. Patil coordinated their efforts, two leaders from different worlds finding perfect synchronicity in the heat of battle. As the last of the Cronus Division forces fell back, Zixera and Dr. Patil rushed toward the alien structure. They reached the control panel just as a massive explosion rocked the clearing. "Self-destruct sequence," Krell shouted. "They're trying to bury the outpost's secrets." Dr. Patel's fingers flew over the ancient controls, her brow furrowed in concentration. Zixera stood guard, ready to defend against any last-ditch attacks. The structure began to shake, energy fields fluctuating wildly. Tree roots creaked and snapped as the Earth itself seemed to rebel against the alien presence. "Almost there," Dr. Patil muttered. "Just a few more seconds. With a final, desperate lunge, she slammed her hand down on a glowing glyph. The shaking stopped. The energy field stabilized, and a holographic display sprang to life before them, filling the clearing with ghostly light. As human and alien alike gathered around, the secrets of Earth's past and the galaxy's future began to unfold before their eyes. By the almond, Zixera breathed. "Is that?" Dr. Patel nodded, her voice filled with awe. "It's a message from the precursor race that seeded life throughout the galaxy, and it's addressed to humanity." The hunt was over, but the true adventure, one that would reshape the destiny of 2 civilizations and beyond, was only just beginning. Evolution's champions. The ancient alien outpost hummed with energy, its holographic display casting an ethereal glow over the faces of humans and extraterrestrials alike. Captain Zixera, Dr. Amita Patel, and their united team stood transfixed as the message from the precursor race began to play. A figure materialized, humanoid, yet clearly alien, with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to hold the depths of space within them. When it spoke, its voice resonated not just in their ears, but in their very minds. "To the children of Earth, our final and greatest experiment. If you are witnessing this message, you have taken your first steps into the galactic community. The journey ahead will be fraught with challenges, but know this: you were created for this very purpose." The assembled group exchanged looks of shock and awe. Dr. Patel's hand trembled as she reached out to touch the hologram, her scientific mind racing to comprehend the implications. The precursor's message continued, unveiling a story that rewrote the history of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. Eons ago, the precursor race had achieved mastery over genetics, energy, and even time itself. They seeded life throughout the cosmos, guiding the evolution of countless species. But they foresaw their own extinction, victims of their own technological hubris. In their final act, they poured all their knowledge and hope into one last experiment: humanity. Earth was designed as the ultimate crucible, the precursor explained, a world of extreme biodiversity, rapidly changing conditions, and unique temporal properties. You, humans, are the culmination of our work, a species with unparalleled adaptability, creativity, and potential for growth. The hologram shifted, showing scenes of early humans facing incredible odds, surviving ice ages, outsmarting megafauna, and constantly innovating. Then came glimpses of humanity's future potential, feats of engineering that dwarfed even Galactic Federation achievements, harmonious integration with artificial intelligence, and explorations into dimensions beyond normal spacetime. You were hidden from the galactic community, the precursor continued, protected until you could realize your full potential. The challenges you faced on your homeworld have prepared you for the trials that lie ahead. You are our legacy, the species we believe can guide the galaxy into a new era of discovery and harmony. As the message neared its end, the precursor's expression became somber. But beware, our extinction was no accident. There are forces in this universe that fear the potential of young races. They will seek to suppress or destroy you. You must be strong. You must be united. And above all, you must remember that your greatest strength lies in your diversity and your capacity to form bonds even with those unlike yourselves. The hologram flickered, and for a moment, it seemed to look directly at the assembled team of humans and aliens. To those of the galactic community who have discovered our children, welcome them, learn from them, and help them fulfill their destiny. The future of all life depends on it. With a final pulse of energy, the hologram faded, leaving the clearing in stunned silence. For a long moment, no one spoke. The weight of the revelation settled over them like a physical force. Humanity, the supposed primitives of a backwater world, were in fact the heirs to the most advanced civilization the galaxy had ever known. It was Gorn who finally broke the silence. The massive alien warrior knelt before Dr. Patel, his head bowed. Your people are the chosen of the precursors. We are honored to stand beside you." Dr. Patel, still reeling from the revelation, shook her head. "No, please, don't kneel. We're in this together, human and alien alike." Zixera stepped forward, her compound eyes reflecting the fading light of the hologram. "Dr. Patel is right. The precursors chose humanity not just for your potential, but for your ability to unite diverse peoples. Our two species meeting, here and now, is proof of that." A slow clap echoed through the clearing. From the shadows emerged a figure in the black uniform of Cronus Division, his helmet removed to reveal a face twisted with a mixture of triumph and disdain. "How touching," he sneered. "But I'm afraid this little moment of interspecies bonding is at an end. Cronus Division thanks you for unlocking the secrets of humanity's destiny. We'll take it from here." More black-clad soldiers melted out of the jungle, their weapons trained on the team. They had been waiting, letting Zixera's group do the hard work of activating the outpost. Dr. Patel stepped forward, her voice ringing with authority. "Stand down. Commander Vance, this knowledge belongs to all of humanity, and to our new allies." Vance's laugh was cold and mirthless. "Oh, Amita, always the idealist. Humanity was meant to rule, not to play nice with bugs and blobs from outer space. With the precursor's knowledge, we'll take our rightful place as gods among the stars." Tension crackled through the air as both sides faced off. Zixera's crew readied themselves for a fight, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Just as it seemed violence was inevitable, a strange humming filled the air. The ancient tree at the center of the clearing began to glow, its bark peeling away to reveal intricate circuitry beneath. Taz's ears twitched wildly. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup." Before anyone could react, tendrils of light shot out from the tree, enveloping every person, human and alien alike, in a cocoon of shimmering energy. In that moment, something extraordinary happened. Minds touched minds. Memories flowed like water between consciousness, human and alien. Temporal Integrity Commission and Cronus Division. All were connected in a vast network of shared experience. Zixera felt the weight of human history, the triumphs and tragedies, the ceaseless drive to explore and understand. Dr. Patil experienced the vast scope of the Galactic Federation, countless worlds and species united in common purpose. And Commander Vance, he saw the truth of humanity's potential, not as conquerors, but as unifiers. He felt the pain and fear that drove species to conflict, and understood the precursor's vision of a galaxy healed through cooperation. As suddenly as it began, the experience ended. The light faded, and the gathered beings found themselves forever changed. Vance's weapon clattered to the ground. Tears streamed down his face as he looked at his former enemies with new eyes. I understand now. We were wrong. So wrong." Dr. Patel helped him to his feet, her own eyes glistening. "We all have a lot to learn, Commander, but we'll do it together." In the days that followed, as news of humanity's true nature spread throughout Earth and into the stars, the implications of the precursor's message became clear. Humanity would join the galactic community not as conquerors or subjects, but as mediators and innovators. The Temporal Integrity Commission, with input from the Galactic Federation, established a new organization, the Terran Diplomatic Corps. Their mission was to help guide humanity's integration into the larger universe while protecting Earth's unique properties. As for the crew of the Nova Storm, they were hailed as heroes both on Earth and throughout the Federation. Their willingness to defy regulations and forge bonds with an unknown species had quite literally changed the course of galactic history. Captain Zixera stood on the bridge of her ship, watching as Earth grew smaller in the view screen. Beside her, Dr. Patel fidgeted in her new uniform, still unused to the idea of space travel. "Are you ready?" Zixera asked. Amita nodded, a mix of nervousness and excitement in her eyes. "As ready as I'll ever be to address the Galactic Federation Assembly. Let's go show the universe what humans and aliens can accomplish together. As the Nova Storm jumped to faster than light speed, Zixera reflected on the incredible journey that had led them to this point. They had come seeking a lost world, and found instead the key to the galaxy's future. Humanity, the ultimate experiment in evolution, was about to take its place among the stars, and the universe would never be the same.